Hello, welcome to Chapter 3 Podcast, the show for readers of science fiction, fantasy, and romance. This is Season 2, Episode 4, and today I'm here with Izzy to talk about holiday romance because it is the season. I'm so excited.
I am too.
It's going to be fun. If you guys do enjoy the podcast, we'd appreciate if you take a minute and rate and review us so we can continue to reach more listeners. And if you're interested in getting early access to episodes and fun exclusive bonus content with every episode, consider supporting us on Patreon. Huge thanks to all of our supporting patrons who make this possible, including our world-expanding patron, Trina. You all are amazing. And we're going to talk holiday romance today. It's going to be fun.
I'm very excited.
Yes.
I love holiday romances.
I do too. And one thing that I think might be fun to talk a little bit about as well, I don't have a huge list of options, but we are going to talk Christmas romance, but there are other holidays in this season that, you know, you might want romances for as well. So I do have a Hanukkah romance to recommend. I don't know if you have anything that's...
I have a general, that covers holidays throughout the year recommendation.
Okay. I like it.
So I do have that. And I have a trio of books that cover 3 different fall holidays, and I can give a Thanksgiving one. So
I love it. Maybe let's start there, and then we'll move into Christmassy type romances. I'll start with the big one that I read this year that I liked was The Matzo Ball by Jean Meltzer, and this one is cool too because it's got disability rep, with chronic illness, and the author has that disability, and it's one of those kind of hidden ones. I thought it was really funny, the setup, but you have to like the kind of Hallmark rom-com vibe of it if you're not expecting that, because that's what it is. It's like a Hallmark rom-com book except for Hanukkah, and it follows a woman who is the daughter of this famous rabbi who secretly leads a double life where she's a best-selling author of Christmas romances.
I like that. That's funny. Yeah. It's a good setup.
I love it. And then her publisher is like, well, we want you to write a Hanukkah romance. And she's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And ends up trying to convince the boy who broke her heart at Jewish summer camp in 7th grade to let her into this fancy matzah ball, Hanukkah ball that he's planning. That hijinks ensue and they kind of end up reconnecting. It's very funny, I think, but yeah.
It's that kind of, you gotta like that kind of
You gotta like that kind of thing. And it's not spicy. So, which is, is a positive or negative depending on what you're looking for.
The mood varies, right?
It does.
So the Thanksgiving one I have is called Fall Into You by Georgina Kirsten. I got an arc of this. They have a couple pen names. They're non-binary, Black trans author. And this is a sapphic romance that is childhood friends to lovers. Our main character, Amari, goes to a new town after running away from her wedding and has kind of been hiding and working freelance from home, and ends up running into her childhood friend at this autumn festival. And it's very, very cute, very sweet. It follows her meeting the friend and then reconnecting, and also her navigating some troublesome family situations. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I think it's 60 pages. Or 50 pages. It's very short, very fun though.
Awesome.
One of those things where you're just oh, this was just a nice feeling. And I walked away just warm and cozy, Oh,
that sounds cute. Yeah, I do have one that is kind of covers a range of holidays also, where it starts around Halloween and ends with New Year's.
Okay.
This is Black Witch Magic by Mila Nix. It's an indie published romance that I really liked a lot. It's got a plus size heroine who is Black, and she's in a small town where her family's cursed, where she can't leave the town. And the hero is this guy who is coming to town with his partner because they do a YouTube show that's a paranormal investigation thing, and they're investigating her family, but he doesn't know that she's part of the family they're investigating when they meet. And I thought it was really fun and cute.
That was a really cute one. I called that one it's a cozy mystery romance almost.
Yes. Yeah.
And
definitely.
it's almost 50-50 when I read it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, I second this recommendation. I also enjoyed it a lot.
I love it.
I've got a series that covers literally Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
Okay.
And it's Tiffany Reese's Men at Work series. These are Harlequin Blazes. So they are pretty steamy for Harlequins. a little steamier than the current Harlequin desires, if that makes sense. The first one's called Her Halloween Treat, which is a brother's best friend trope. She comes to town like to get her life together, I think, and needs him to come help her fix up the place, and is like, whoa, wait a minute. Then there's Her Naughty Holiday, which involves a single dad and a fake relationship. And she needs a fake date for her family when they come to Thanksgiving. And her family's really crappy, and they like put them in their place in the book, and it was delightful. Like, I loved this one so much. And then the third one is One Hot December, which is a one-night stand with her boss, and our female main character is a welder. I don't want to give a lot away because they're
okay.
They're like
Yeah, they're quick. Yeah,
like I can't like tell you all of it, but this is one of those like, this is like my go-to holiday rec, because I'm like, you can literally start in October. You can read them all in one go, but you can start in October, you can read one in November and in December. And
I love it. Like, you're ready for like the whole holiday season. That's awesome.
Perfect to put you right in the mood.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, and I've been starting to see more kind of holiday but not Christmas specific romances get published, which I think is great. I haven't read them. Like, I do know there are a few other like Hanukkah romances out there. And I want to say I saw someone recommend something recently that was like a Kwanzaa romance, but
I think I saw a Kwanzaa one recently too, and I don't remember the title.
Yeah, so which I just think is cool. Okay, one other thing I will mention here that isn't really a holiday romance, but it has those kind of cozy, wintry vibes to me reading it. It's like a fantasy romance. So this is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsky, and it just came out. I really liked this. It's set in a magical version of Edwardian England, and it's two men getting together trying to solve a murder mystery and getting together. So it's a mix of this fantasy mystery plus a slow burn, but quite steamy once it gets there, romance. And I really liked it. It's also got, they're kind of like opposites. I think the author has said that one of them is supposed to be kind of her himbo type character, and the other one is like this bookish nerd. And it's great. Like, it's very, very charming. They have just like a really tender and sweet relationship, and good use of magic in a steamy scene, which I thought was interesting, because I was like, yeah, if this kind of magic existed, like, this is totally a way people would use it. So I won't talk about how exactly, but yeah, this was a really good one.
Sounds good. Yeah. And then on the anthology I know about, so caveat, I do know the editor / person who puts the anthology together, and I did read some submissions this year for volume 2, and that is Love All Year, and they literally cover everything that is not a Christian holiday.
Oh, cool.
So I have to finish volume 1 still. I'm so bad at reading anthologies. I'll like read 2 stories and like put it down and forget about it. And then I'm like, oh, I need to finish that. And then I, cycle back through. But it's really interesting. So they covered various things. They've done various Jewish holidays, pagan holidays, different Chinese holidays. They did Black Love Day, like just literally a whole range. It's one of those ones that you could pick up and just kind of slowly meander through. And it's a great way to try some like authors you might not have heard of, and some like smaller indie authors. Awesome.
And as always, these will all be listed in the show notes or in the video description if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're looking for something specific. So I think that's pretty much what we have. That's not
Christmas. Yeah, my 3 others are Christmas.
Yeah, I think most of my other stuff that I've read recently is Christmas. Okay, so maybe a thing to talk about is if you're going in to read a Christmas romance, what is it that you're looking for? Like, what for you makes a good Christmas romance?
Do they bone Santa? No. Do they bone Santa? Let's be honest. No. Okay. I will always pick up the ones where they're like, they bone Santa. I'm like, cool, let's see how this...
I have a recommendation for that. So
I do too. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. I mean, I don't think that's a surprise for anyone that's familiar with anything. I always want that feeling. Like, it doesn't have to be like a full like warm and cozy, but I always want to walk away from my Christmassy books feeling warm, I guess, and cozy. Usually lower angst, I feel like, and I just want the good time, like the right time and place setting where it feels holiday time. I don't know. Do you look for anything specific, or?
No, I mean, I think I'm with you. I also probably usually am going to prefer like a traditional cold, snowy Christmas vibe over like a warm climate. Although if they do enough, it's just got to be better, I think, to sell me on.
Spent most of my Christmases in the South and in the warm. So I'm just like, whatever's fine. Temperature I never think about it.
Interesting. So I didn't always grow up with white Christmases, but I think I've always romanticized it a lot because I spent a lot of time in California and never got the snow I wanted unless we traveled for it. And so I was like, Christmas should have this vibe to it, even if my real life I haven't always had.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. I never think about that one.
Yeah, but I think cozy. I like the good family stuff as side plot. I think can be good for holiday romances for me. But yeah, I would agree with you on that. Okay, so tell me, what's your Santa specific recommendation?
It is The Naughty List by Ellie Mae McGregor. This is another very, very short novella. I love a short Christmas book also, I have to say. I don't want to read a 600-pager necessarily about Christmas. I love that nice short Christmas book. So this is what if you hooked up with Santa? Santa comes, and this one, I don't want to give a ton away, but it's really, really cute and sweet. His name is Nikolai, of course. He's been Santa for like a few years, I think. And it actually follows a mom who's recently divorced and has like a really terrible ex. And what Santa delivers to her for Christmas is magnificent. And I just that sold me on the entire book.
I love it.
It was filthy and really fun. Oh, I think they bone in the sleigh too. So that was great.
As one does.
I mean, I just was like, this makes sense. This is what I want.
I love it. So the only one that I've really read, because I think for me, if it's like a really Santa Clausy Santa, it's too weird for me. You know what I mean? Because I tried reading something once that was and I was like, oh no. But I did last year read Her Night with Santa by Adriana Herrera, and that I was into. That was good. It's very, very steamy and it's short. And in this version, Santa is a butch lesbian. So it's like a family thing that gets passed on. So she's like young and it's somebody who's like staying at her condo because their families are I think I'm trying to remember what it is. I want to say it's the other heroine is like the niece of one of the magi or something. And so she sets it up so she can stay the weekend in the condo of the Santa, and so then doesn't expect her to come in. Anyway, I won't say anymore, but yeah,
it's one of the, it's short too, I think.
It's short. It's very short.
TBR,
yeah, it's very short. Yeah.
I love it. I just think it's interesting what people do with Santa. Sometimes I am I'm out, but I will still read it just to be this is an interesting choice.
It's fair. Yeah. So you can go from that to something that's much more okay, if somebody is no, I don't want steam so much. I don't know if you have that or not, but I don't want
I have
something
nothing
with
Okay,
I'll
So if you have a no steam, go, because my last two are still pretty steamy.
Okay. All right. My go-to recommendation for an author for not no steam, but low steam, I guess I'll say low steam, heavier on the plot, and maybe more women's fiction than romance, but is Sarah Morgan. Can I ever not recommend her?
I liked Christmas Sisters by her a lot.
Christmas Sisters was good. One More for Christmas is her one from last year. She comes out with a book every Christmas, and they all have at least one romantic subplot, if not multiple, but a lot of family stuff. And I just think she's one of the best writers I've read in terms of characterization and character arcs and the complexities of family relationships and how those different personalities intermingle. I think she just does such a good job, and they're all really cozy and heartwarming. And this one, they go to the Scottish Highlands for Christmas, which is wonderful.
Ooh, that sounds nice. I might have to get that one.
That's a good one. And the romantic plot in here is the owner of this Scottish castle kind of hooking up with one of the daughters in the family. Ooh. So it's good.
It's giving me that new Brooke Shields Netflix movie feelings.
I want to watch it. It
it's so bad.
I know, me too.
So bad. I'm dying.
Yeah.
So on the other end of absolute filth, but a cinnamon roll, sweet, sweet sunshine hero, I have Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, which just came out in October. Tessa Bailey is filthy. Now, just because he's sweet does not mean that this buttoned up hero is not whispering and saying the dirtiest things to her in the bedroom. But our heroine, Stella, just got out of prison for being part of a crime, obviously. I mean, we would hope that it wasn't, a false thing. So she recently got out of prison. Her dream job has always been to dress a window in a department store set in New York City. It has like that something about like, the windows in New York City, I feel like is very Christmassy to me.
Yeah.
I know you live in the city, so like you get it.
We go every year to the Macy's flagship and go look at the windows because they just do
so fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And they make them interactive too. Like they use technology to make it like anyway, they're great.
It's so cool. So she's like critiquing this window. She calls it like Penguin Chernobyl. And Aiden, our hero, is next to her outside the window looking at this window like this window is terrible. And he lets her critique it to him, and he's like, you need to apply for this job. And then he like interviews everyone that applies because like of course they try to throw her out when they find out she's a felon. And he hires her, and then she like does an amazing job, of course. And we follow their like slow build boss employee romance situation. If you don't like boss employee, you're not gonna like this book. First of all, like if you can't just like throw out that bit in your head, if that makes sense.
I have a hard time with that, but I know
it may not be for you. But for me, it just was fine because like I viewed it more of him like being like, no, like the way she talked about the window, like, and her sketches, he felt like were good enough to be in. It wasn't just because he liked her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cute. It was a slight slow build for Tessa Bailey. Slight slow build, but it was just so fun. Aiden is inspired partially by Ted Lasso also. So if you've watched Ted Lasso, he just was a very like, I love a buttoned up hero like this, who that is just like, I'm gonna say the dirtiest things to you. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. You're gonna go ahead and break those preconceived notions we have.
Yep.
Yeah. And I love she's grumpy and he's sunshine. I mean, that's always such a fun little flop on that trope.
That's a good one. Yeah. I have another Adriana Herrera recommendation. This one's
I've got one. That's my last one.
Oh, good. I have a few others I've read this year, but just for the holidays, this is part of the Harlequin Desire line. It's the second book in a series. The first book in the series is also really good and has like a plus size heroine, and it's great, but I really loved this. This one is kind of a second chance romance and a snowed in at Christmas deal between a guy who is a hotshot actor and a woman who is a casting director trying to get him onto a new project, but also he broke her heart in college when he broke up with her. So they have a past. It's great. It's also like very family oriented because she gets snowed in at his family home and they end up staying together in like a little cottage that he has in the back. So like they have their own space, but during the day the family's like, oh, because they're a big Latinx family. So they're like making food and like, it's great. It's very Christmassy and it's great. I like Adriana Herrera.
I do too. My Adriana Herrera for the list is Mangoes and Mistletoe, which is her sapphic bake-off kind of inspired book. They are in Scotland and these two women get teamed up together. Kia, I'm not sure how to say her name, and Sully. One is like a professional chef, more pastry chef, and the other one's like a home cook. And they're like begrudgingly like they're very grumpy with each other. This is also Grumpy Sunshine, one of my favorite tropes. It was just so good. It was also pretty smutty and like that, some good steam in it, which I think sometimes with sapphic romances are hit and miss. Unfortunately, like sometimes like they're overly sweet and like can be hard to find ones that are like a little higher on the steam scale. It's gotten better. But yeah, this was super cute. I really loved the cooking competition aspect of it. I thought it was well done. It gave me, and that I feel like is so Christmassy, like baking and all that too. So you're just like, oh, this is so nice. And yeah, they just like figured it out how to be together and be on a team and compete in this thing. And it was perfect.
I'm excited.
So I like to think about like the romance happening behind the scenes on like Great British Bake Off or something.
That's so cute. Yeah, I'm reading that one in December with my channel patrons. So
that'll be perfect.
That'll be fun. Yeah. Awesome. She's good. Okay. So like a couple others that I've read this year that I like, and especially I think if we've mentioned some diversity in romances, which I think is good for holiday romances, but I have another two that I've read by Black authors. So if you're looking for that, I think they're great. One of them is not steamy at all. It's like it was written for the Hallmark Channel.
Okay.
And that one is Mistletoe and Juno by Talia Rose. It's really good. I listened to an audio review copy of this one, and it's interesting because we've got a Black heroine and an Indigenous hero, which is kind of cool. He's Inuit.
Cool.
Yeah, and he's also a disabled war vet. The heroine is a social media influencer with a really crappy boyfriend who she kind of breaks things off with before going to Alaska to spend time with her best friend who's about to have a baby who she hasn't seen in a while. And while there, she meets this guy. And this is also kind of a grumpy sunshine. She's less sunshine specific, but he's very grumpy and she's more like outgoing. And yeah, so it's got a little bit of that dynamic. And I really liked it a lot. I thought it was great. And it's also kind of fun to see there's some decent representation in there of Inuit culture. And they talk a little bit about that, which I haven't really seen in romances, especially from a bigger publisher, I think is cool.
I don't think I've seen that much at all from bigger publishers, especially. Another Black author is Phyllis Bourne. She wrote The Hookup Before Christmas.
Okay.
She gets stuck and ends up at this guy's house, and he entertains her and they hook up. It's 30 pages. I don't want to give you more than that, but it was a cute 30 pager. It was fun. I walked away pleased.
Awesome.
And it was Black love. It was great.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Awesome. That's cool. The other one I read is a Harlequin, Christmas in Rose Bend by Naima Simone, which was fun. And I also just was excited to finally read something from her because I've been meaning to read from her for a while. This one's got a Black heroine. She's an ER nurse who's kind of struggling with grieving the loss of her dad and her mom, and they had been divorced. But then, in addition, reeling from her mom's deathbed confession that her dad wasn't actually her biological father, and becoming guardian to her half sister, who isn't actually her biological half sister because of the.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Yeah. So she and her half sister are spending the holidays in this small town, spending December there. She ends up getting to know the son of the innkeeper where they're staying, and he's kind of this big, cinnamon roll type hero, and it's really great. And he's also a war veteran, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I hadn't put that together, but yeah, I thought it was really good. Both of them are kind of dealing with trauma they haven't fully processed. So this one does have some heavier hitting issues, but they're in this small town that's really big on Christmas cheer. And so they have all these funny holiday events that they go to, a Christmas tree decorating competition and all this stuff. So it's fun. It's very Christmassy, and I liked it quite a bit.
Do you have any historicals?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I have one.
Because I have one.
I guess I have two. I have one that was I didn't love it, but I did read it recently, and it's not bad. I think if you're looking for a historical, it might be an option. So let me actually pull this up too.
I was looking at my list and I was like, oh yeah, I have historical too.
Yeah. Okay. So my main recommendation that I think is fantastic is The Earl's Christmas Pearl by Megan Frampton. It's a novella that's a Regency romance take on Home Alone, and it's really funny. It's also Grumpy Sunshine, but the heroine sort of accidentally, not so much, gets left alone for Christmas at their London townhouse, and she's really excited until she realizes, oh, I don't know how to cook or light a fire, and this might be a problem because there's no staff here for the holiday.
I love that. Uh-oh. Oh, snap.
Yeah, so she ends up kind of relying on the guy who's staying in the next door neighbor's house while he's recovering from a leg injury and taking care of a very small dog. It's great. That's the greatest combo ever. It's fantastic. It's funny and a little steamy, and that's a good one.
So I have How the Dukes Stole Christmas, which is an anthology bind up with Tessa Dare, Sarah McLean, Sophie Jordan, and Joanna Shue.
I have that on my TBR, I think.
So I rarely give anthologies 5 stars. I give this 5 stars. I liked every single one. All of these are based on different Christmas movies. So yeah, okay, I don't remember which movie for each one completely, but I know that Sarah McLean's was about Scrooge, that one with the ghost. Is that Scrooge, right? Okay.
Yeah. The Christmas Carol.
Yeah, the Christmas Carol. I was like, what is that? Listen, it's fine.
It's all right.
So this one follows a duke. That one was like a duke who has no time for the holidays. And then the other lady, like the lady who shows up, of course, is like Christmas cheer. And he like can't resist her, and they kind of like find their way together. But what I really liked in this was Eris Alone by Sophie Jordan, which is Home Alone themed. And her family literally leaves her behind in their rush because of a snowstorm coming. And she's stranded in the Highlands and has to fend for herself. And then the hermit Duke neighbor, of course, comes to help her.
I love it.
And it's just so cute. But the other ones are like Meet Me in Mayfair, which is the Christmas Miracle one. It was very cute. They all were very cute. Like, this is one of those ones where it was like really fun to read it and be like, oh yeah, this is the movie.
Yeah.
And this is like what's going on with it.
That sounds like so much fun.
I mean, those 4 are like staple historical romance authors nowadays. I feel like that everybody recommends because they're good. So what a great way to give them a try.
Seriously, I love that. That's like a great lineup of authors. Yeah, the other one that I read recently, I think the book actually came out in 2018, but they just released an audiobook, which is why I had like an audio copy for review, which is Once Upon a Duke by Erica Ridley. It's actually the first in a whole series. It's the 12 Dukes of Christmas series.
Love it. That's perfect.
And they're all set in this small town that has a name that sounds like Christmas. And so they decide, because they're like kind of far out and having trouble with like money, to rebrand themselves as Christmas and like like to become like a tourist destination, right? But it's historical. And so I think the rest of the books in the series also surround different dukes who for some reason are in this town. So it's kind of funny. So I wanted a little bit more from the romance. I mean, I gave this like 3 or 3.5 stars. Like, it's kind of in that range. But if you're looking for something, it's kind of fun. The duke in this case is the heir to the former duke who had been estranged from his uncle. His uncle's passed away, and so he's kind of the Scroogey, like, don't like Christmas, but he's returning to get something that was left to him in his uncle's will, but has to like jump through some hoops to make that happen. And while there, reconnects with a woman whose heart he had broken when he left. And she is great. She's like from lower classes, but she is really smart, and she had been working for his uncle as a bookkeeper. And they kind of reconnect. So I wish we got a little more of their romance, but I think it's a part of it is it's setting up this town for the rest of the series. Also, there's a goat.
What else do you need? There's a goat.
Like a rescue goat. Okay. Great. Anyway, it was fun. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds goofy.
Yeah. I think the one other thing I'll say while I'm on here, I probably said this in last year's episode as well, talking about holiday romances. So I'm mostly trying to do like newer things that I've read since then. But for anybody who in the last year has discovered Talia Hibbert, because she's gotten big with the Brown Sister series and wrote a lot of great indie romances before, she has a holiday romance called Merry Inkmas.
That's right. I forgot about that book.
Yeah. It's great.
I forget about that book. It's so good.
It's so good. And the hero is like a tattoo artist. And I think we have a plus size heroine in that, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I read it. But yeah, that's a really good one as well. So if you've discovered Talia Hibbert and you want something Christmassy from her, there's that. Oh, and she had okay, let me look this up. She also had a Kobo exclusive.
Oh, you're right. And
last year that was really good. What was that one called?
Read that. I forgot to read it.
It's short. It's like a little novella. It's really short, and I loved it. Okay, let me find it. I know it's going to be.
I just forgot I had it on the app.
That's okay.
So, like, literally, I wrapped up in you.
Yes, Wrapped Up in You. It's only on Kobo, but you can download the app, and it was available for free last year, which is why I got it, and I just love her. But that one has a super prickly heroine, which I'm into, and they've been best friends for a long time, and they're snowed in together at her grandma's house over the holidays, and finally,
Another author of color to check out is Jackie Lau. She has a ton of holiday themed books. I have not read them all, so it's hard to be like, yeah, absolutely, they're all great. But she literally has like a Holiday with the Wongs series that follows a whole family, and it starts like, I think with Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh, cool.
Like there's Thanksgiving one, a Christmas one, a Chinese New Year one, Valentine's Day. Like, so you could start reading those and like literally read all 4 before all the holidays hit.
Yeah, what is it? I don't think I put it on my Goodreads yet, but I'm also reading something that from Kindle Unlimited that I heard about from Ashley. And I think the one I'm reading is a Halloween romance novella, but I think she has a whole series of them. Oh yeah, this is it. Booed Up by Danielle Allen.
Oh, yes.
Danielle.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's got a series. She's got a whole series of these holiday romance novellas that are pretty steamy. And Boot Up is fun. It's like 2 people meeting at a Halloween party, and it's funny because they're the only Black people there. And so when like their white friends pull out a Ouija board, they're like, "No, we're out." And so they leave and end up kind of hooking up. So
that's so cute.
It's fun. Yeah, I think that's like most of what I have. The one other one I have that's set around the holidays, although it's not super Christmassy necessarily, is Headliners by Lucy Parker.
Right. That is holiday time.
Yeah. I like this. This is like an enemies to lovers thing. And there's a point where they accidentally get locked in together in a wine cellar.
So funny. That part killed me. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. That was hilarious. Lucy Parker is great. I think her stuff in general is really fun. So that's a good one. Yeah, I think that's like most of the new things I have to talk about.
Same. It's weird because like there's stuff that I'm like, we'll finish this, right? And I'm gonna go, oh gosh, there was
that thing. How did I forget? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there's always so many that come out too. It's hard to keep up. But it's true. I'm excited for all the ones I'm gonna read this year.
Yeah, there's a lot that I have on my to read list that I haven't gotten to yet. So cool. Hopefully that gives everybody lots of places to start. And we are going to do On My Radar, which is where we share recent or upcoming book releases in sci-fi, fantasy, and romance that we're excited about. I'm going to tell you there's not much because like we're winding up the year and there's not a lot of releases in December. So the books for today's episode will be released between November 23rd and December 6th, 2021. I only have 2.
And I have none.
Yeah. It's slim pickings.
Because it's literally like the end of the year. There is nothing.
Yeah, publishing is really gearing up for January. So there's a few things coming out in December, but it's much less. So one that I have is And They Lived Happily Ever After by Therese Bahari. This one is coming out November 30th. And the pitch says, fans of Payback's a Witch and the Ex-Hex won't want to miss this charming and humorous novel featuring a South African writer facing her past and literally living her dreams and conjuring a real-life hero.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it sounds like fun. It's got like a magic.
I will have to get that one.
I have an arc of it that was sent to me, so I'm going to be reading that soon, hopefully. And then the other one is an anthology of novellas. So it's like 5 novellas from different authors. This is Rake I'd Like to F. And they last year did Duke I'd Like to F, and it was great. Like it was a really, really good bind up by great authors. So the authors are Sierra Simone, Joanna Shoup, Eva Lee, Nicola Davidson, and Adriana Herrera, which we've been talking about Adriana Herrera a lot today. She's wonderful.
I know. She's been loved on a lot today.
Yeah, she's a good one. So a lot of really good authors. They're all writing novellas featuring a rake and like some kind of a steamy romance. And yeah, I really, really liked their first collection. It was good. So I definitely want to read this one as well. And that also comes out November 30th.
Yeah, that would have been my other pick. So that's I was like looking, I'm like, there's nothing.
There's not much. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've got a lot of other stuff coming out that I want to read. I do think if people are looking for more romances, Harlequin has a lot of holiday romances that they push out and they start coming out in November. So if you're needing any more, they're good.
And there's a lot. There's even Roan Parrish's came out, and that is the
I have that
Men Loving Men one.
Yeah.
I was like, what is the word for the thing?
I'm like, I have it. It's on my TBR. Yeah, this one.
Yes.
The Lights on Knockbridge Lane. It's like a small town holiday romance. I think, is one of them like a single dad? I'm not sure.
Possibly. I'm not sure. I know I would like to pick it up, but
yeah,
I'm overrun with options already. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I do. I want to read that one. So I love that we're getting more diverse options in our holiday romances. I actually, you know what, this reminds me. I read a Thanksgiving like men loving men romance last year. What was that?
We are very organized. It's fine.
I don't know. It was another Harlequin one though, and it would take me too long to figure out what it was, but there is one. So there's some things coming.
Harlequin is always a reliable source for holiday romance, I feel like. So
definitely, they do a lot of it. So hopefully this was fun and helpful, and we hope you all enjoy your holiday season, whatever it is that you are celebrating. This was a shorter than usual episode, but hopefully a fun one. And I will be back in 2 weeks with Leanna and special guest Alan from the Library of Alexandria to talk about The Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. So that should be fun. It is his holiday Discworld book, so that also seemed appropriate. So we'll be back for that. Yeah. This has been Chapter 3 Podcast. We're your hosts, Bethany and Izzy. You can follow us on our individual YouTube channels, which will be linked down below or in the show notes if you want to check them out. And you can follow Chapter 3 Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you would like, and also on our YouTube channel if you are listening to this. So it's available both ways. The next episode will be available in 2 weeks, and this episode's bonus content will be available to patrons in the next few days. Thanks for listening.